Some of the most direct verses in the Bible about magic and sorcery come from Deuteronomy, Galatians, Acts, and Leviticus. These passages clearly condemn real-life practices of the occult, but does that mean watching anime or any other medium with fictional magic is sinful? What do these verses about magic have to do with anime anyway? Well, a lot of people think it has a lot to do with anime. Let's find out. I have been getting this question from a few people in my comments, and it's actually a really good question to consider. Should Christians watch anime with magic? And now I'm going to broaden this and say just any medium with magic, right? So now my friend Podson actually did a really good job explaining this exact same question, but I'm going to handle it a little bit differently. But definitely check out his video on it because I think it was really, really good. A lot of the time, this question comes up because there are a lot of anime that are set in fictional worlds that magic is a driving medium for how a story is being told, even if it's really not identified as magic. Since the character's powers don't necessarily come from God, some Christians assume it's evil, and that watching it basically is kind of the same as participating in witchcraft. Jujutsu Kaisen, Naruto, Mashle, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Black Clover, Fairy Tail, Dragon Ball Z, Dandadan, Full Metal Alchemist, Solo Leveling. Honestly, it's in a lot of anime, which turns some Christians off, which I get it. I completely understand. Because of the good intentions of wanting to have nothing to do with the unfruitful works of darkness, we shoot away. But in my opinion, my humble opinion, there is a flaw in all of this. These shows aren't telling you to practice magic. Now, that might surprise some of my brothers and sisters. Hear me out. In the verses that were at the beginning that I mentioned, right? Notice how all of those verses deal with people practicing magic, sorcery or magic, like people in real life occults that are using dark forces to achieve dark purposes, people who are enemies against God and have rejected him and think that demonic powers will trump God in some way. Obviously it won't. This is sort of similar to my video I did on the satanic panic, and it's the flat out assumption that fictional things, games like D&D, Pokemon, entertainment of all kinds, I guess, will cause you to be possessed and be a pawn for Satan, which isn't true. If you watch Frieren or Jujutsu Kaisen, if you stumble across Harry Potter, you're not automatically enrolled in the dark arts class at Hogwarts. Like, it just doesn't work that way. This is like cheesy Christian movies that the always outcome of the movie is always positive, when life necessarily doesn't work like that. Yes, all things work together for the good of those who love God, but sometimes suffering is what we deal with in a lot in life. It doesn't really wrap up entirely in a bow like some cliche Christian movies like to make it seem. Anime that use magic, there is a shared narrative of how those characters in the story are interpreting the world around them. It's used for world building, to tell the story, to tell a deeper meaning behind the story. That's really it. I will always point to this, but the Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis, is a prime example of this. There are no commands in the anime or any fictional medium that has magic to give you a roadmap to what you should or shouldn't believe. That's really not the point. Now, maybe there are people that do take it that way. That doesn't mean it's its purpose. Now, according to Romans 14, if your conscience is pricking you for watching the things that you do or participating in the things that you do, you should listen to the Holy Spirit over everything else and not watch it. But you and I get convicted over different things. That's just how it is. But me or any other person is not the definitive answer on what you should or shouldn't watch in your personal life. We should also probably stop thinking that works of fiction are somehow anti-God because they don't mention God. It's a fictional work, a fictional world with different rules inspired by the real world sometimes. That's really, really cool. Like, God, the ultimate storyteller, has given human beings made in his image something that gravitates people to each other and ultimately can be used to point to himself. All of this is a matter of conscience though, but how I like to watch these shows, especially when I'm doing analysis for different things, it points out how these stories can be viewed to point people to the deeper story that's found in Jesus and the Christian story. Philippians 4:8 says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. This is how I like to think about the anime that I'm watching. Especially because here at Anime Relatable, the main goal isn't to create a safe space or a safe haven for Christians, for anime that Christians can watch. There's other channels that can do that, and IMBD is free, and I do that occasionally. But the goal has always been to take the anime that the anime community watches, that we watch, the anime that people relate to, and relate them to our everyday lives and hopes to point those people to Jesus. So I'll watch anime that have these magical systems because, well, one, ultimately these are works of fiction and should be taken like that. And two, in every story, God can use it to draw people to himself. Story in Matthew 15, where the Pharisees and the teachers are coming at Jesus because in their eyes, Jesus' disciples are breaking the law by eating without washing their hands. Jesus comes back at them and tells them how they are eating doesn't matter, but what matters more is what comes out of their mouths, like evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander, and so much more, right? So Jesus is highlighting in this story a heart posture. If you're watching anime and it's causing you to sin, you probably shouldn't watch it, but this is with anything, right? Like if you are as a Christian being on Twitter or social media, it's causing you to be angry and bitter at people who disagree with you. Maybe it's not actually them. Maybe it's actually you. Maybe it's your heart that needs a check, that needs to be cleansed, right? If you're watching Mashle or Black Clover, will these cause you to try to join the cult? I hope it doesn't, but it's not the anime that's the problem. It's you, it's us as fallen human beings. But there's hope for us in our hearts because we have been given a way for how we are engaging with the world not to consume us. And it's ultimately because Jesus, through his life, death, and resurrection, has saved us. And by trusting in him, we can have freedom from these things that enslaved us. And once we are free, we can go engage with the culture that once held us captive by being in the world and not of it, pointing to a holy God who laid down his life for us and for them, not being influenced by these fictional things or fictional stories, but now they have their proper place. So should Christians watch anime with fictional magic? I think it's okay. I'm probably still gonna watch it, but I'm not the Holy Spirit. If your conviction says no, you probably should listen. If you're unsure, you should pray about it. Talk to trusted people in your church community. Either way, the goal here at Anime Relatable isn't to find a safe list. It's to help you think deeper about the stories that we already love and how they can ultimately point us to Jesus. And if you're a Christian, equip you to be able to share these same things with your friends. And if you're not a believer, help you to see that there is a greater hope beyond your favorite anime characters, because every person, every fictional work pulls at a longing deep in our hearts that we all desire. And I think, and I truly believe that those desires and those hopes can only be fulfilled in Jesus. If you are a Christian and you're looking for manga, if you're looking for Christian manga, if you're looking for Christian anime, check out my friends Ren the Governor and Chris Kai, Hunters of Illumis and Flip Flop. Their manga, Volume 1, out now. Go check it out. Cool? I'll catch you later.